Hi, it's Professor Lucido again. Going to talk to you about social media analytics. Let me share my screen. Let's talk. You just read this reading by Justin DeGraff, lead of social analytics at Coca-Cola. Think about it. When you were in middle school, I think there was no such job. Maybe when you were in grade school, there was no such job as lead of social analytics or director of social analytics or vice president of social analytics, right? This is new, brand new, within the last few years technology. I'm going to have you watch this video briefly, and he's in it, Mr. DeGraff. You kind of get to know him and get a sense about him, and then we'll go from there.
Coca-Cola data is everywhere, and so one of the things we're very excited about is finding different ways to use the data that we either own, that we can buy or borrow from our partners, or data that we can get publicly available to help us drive our marketing strategies. So across all of our media investments and our advertising decisions, our product creation, we try to use data to drive what we're doing. And my role at Coca-Cola is to help build out our first-party data use, so finding ways from all of the data that we own, from our websites, from our CRM systems, from our programmatic media buys, to drive better marketing and smarter investments from the data that we have. Social media is a great way for Coke to reach out to consumers and to have a conversation. So we're very good at marketing to people. Social media is great because it gives us a chance to engage in a two-way conversation. And what happens on a lot of social media is that it's noisy. So if you have a lot of friends and a lot of followers and you're following celebrities and news outlets, a lot of that content starts to clog your feed. And so what's important for us is having content that's engaging, that's inspiring, that people want to see and share. And when we do that, we find we get the best breakthrough. And these are fundamentals of marketing. So it's nothing new, it's nothing special, but it really matters more on social media because you have to break through all that information to say, hey, this is content worth sharing, worth viewing, and worth having a look at. We gain a lot of value from knowing what behaviors shoppers are taking. So we talk about this as purchase-based targeting data, and we'll often try to find out who's bought particular products in the past and then craft and tailor messages towards them that they'll be more interested in. And consumers like this because they get advertisements that are more relevant to them, that they find more engaging. And we like it because the messages we're delivering to them are more likely to lead to sales. And so our purpose is trying to find a connection between that data that helps us understand who they are, what they like, and what they want to buy, and then our creative teams making sure that we reach them with the right content at the right time.
He wants us to listen more than we speak, which is really good suggestion as human beings, isn't it? To be good listeners and hear people out more than we talk. He says, for years, marketers have been good at speaking to consumers through all types of media like radio and television and print media, newspaper. When it comes to social media, these one-way communication skills need to come second. So it's more about listening to our consumers of our products or the people we want to pay attention to our nonprofit message, whatever that might be, right? Yeah, so I'm going to show a couple videos in a row here. One about TweetDeck and how it works, and another one is Hootsuite, and these are analytical tools that allow you, if you own, let's say, a business or a nonprofit, and you're using analytics for your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, allow you to track every single tap, every single click. Let you know who that person is, how old they are, what their gender is, where they live in the world, where they clicked or tapped next after they first tapped on your app or your Facebook link or something like that. If they shared, if they liked, if they commented, all that can be tracked in great detail. So let's watch these two clips.
Hello, in this video we're looking at TweetDeck. So the URL is tweetdeck.twitter.com. It's a great way to view Twitter and use Twitter, and it's also really useful if you're looking to partake in a Twitter chat So let's have a look at the site in total. So down the left hand side we've got our column headings, and that allows us to jump to particular columns. Imagine if we had more than the 4 that are viewable, we'd be able to jump to the specific column that we are interested in. So the home column, this first one here, refers to your normal Twitter feed. So it's what you'd see on your normal Twitter feed. Notifications, as the title suggests, is notifications that would pop up related to your account. Activity are where people that you follow have either liked or followed someone, and you can see that. Scheduled tweets is where you can schedule a tweet. So if you have a YouTube video that you've published on a particular date in the advance, you can tweet when that video is released and schedule it in advance. So to do that, you click on the tweet button, you put in your normal tweet, you could add an image or a video, and then you could schedule it for a specific release time. So say really useful if you've got a video that you've published on YouTube that's coming out at a particular time that you want to tweet about. Or if you're partaking in a Twitter chat or hosting a Twitter chat, it's quite useful if you're hosting a Twitter chat to be able to put some of the questions out at a particular time. And then the final column is your messages, so they're normal direct messages that you may send. So we close that. So if you want to add a column, so you've got a particular hashtag you want to follow in relation to a chat, you click on the add column, you use the search function, and then you can type in your hashtag. So for example, I could be interested in the next Microsoft Tweet Meet, so I could put in MSFTEDU chat. I could select that and it will create that as a column. I can then click on the filters and I could be more specific as to what I want them to show. So I could exclude certain words, I could put a date range in, which would be really useful if I'm following a chat that's happening on a particular date. I can also choose the location, I can look at tweet authors, I can look at engagement. So if I'm after the most popular tweets, then I could look at that. And on preferences, I can choose how it is displayed, so how it displays on in my columns. It's possible to click and drag those across, so you can move your columns to where you want them to be. And when you're happy with your filters, you just click back on the filter icon and you can see. So just to recap then, to add a column, you click on your column, you click on the search function, and then you enter your hashtag. So there's a further education chat in the UK that I take part in, so I click on that and again it brings it up and I can use the filters to choose. Final couple of things, you can click claps if you're on a smaller screen and that just reduces the side menu to icons. You can add different accounts and there's some other setting changes that you can do. But they are the main thrust of how to use TweetDeck. I think it's a great way, as I've said already, to participate in tweet chats or tweet meets and keep up to date with what's being said and by whom. I hope you found the video useful. Please like it, subscribe to the channel and join me again soon for more EdTech videos.
Measuring social media performance across multiple networks can be time-consuming and makes managing the results difficult. Hootsuite Analytics solves this problem. It's an easy-to-use tool for measuring the success of your social media efforts. Access Hootsuite Analytics in the sidebar. Here, you'll see two main areas: post performance and reports. Post performance shows your published content with an overview of how it was received by your audience. Here, you can set the date range and edit the columns to show metrics that are most relevant to you, like comments or video views. Let's now look at the reports area. You can create customizable and shareable reports geared precisely to the reporting needs of your organization. There's overview reports of individual networks and mixed overview reports with aggregated metrics across multiple social networks. The reports area also has pre-made templates for monitoring the performance of individual networks. Hootsuite users with more advanced reporting needs should take advantage of custom reports, which can be built out using only the metrics that are important to you. Hootsuite Analytics also has team and time metrics, depending on your plan type. Team metrics enable admins to track team member productivity. Team metric reports can be customized to include valuable measures like first response time and resolution time.
He talks about in the reading, when listening, to be sure to listen for your brand, your competitors, and most importantly, your entire category. I think, to use the basketball analogy, if you're in the NBA and you're, let's say, doing social media for a specific team, how about the Sacramento Kings or the Denver Nuggets, right? And something happens in Major League Baseball or football. That's still important for you to think about, because Major League Sports is the category that you're in. So it's like an awareness that he's suggesting that you have and pay attention to. Number 2, understand that metrics and analytics are different. Metrics are fantastic at telling you what happened, but you need analytics to understand why that happened. What else is happening? And what if we do something or don't do something in our world, in our company, in our nonprofit, how that might look, right? I love the analogy he gives us. A clock, a metric, can tell you what time it is right now. Analytics will tell you that you're 27 minutes away from your destination and you'll be 7 minutes late. That's a good word picture for us to understand what he means by analytics. The third point he makes is use benchmarks to provide relativity and context. Social data changes rapidly, and understanding the normal range for key performance indicators, KPIs, he abbreviates it, and gives you the acronym quite a bit, will help craft appropriate recommendations, all right? Go beyond comparisons to other brands or prior campaigns within your company and instead create a median based, he's talking about a baseline benchmark ranges for the past 7, 30, and 90 days to provide relativity to your current data. So that's a lot of words that he's written, and I'm kind of reading my PowerPoint here, but I want you to think of, if you're working for a nonprofit, the American Cancer Society, and you want people to pay attention to exercise or eating macrobiotic food or something like that, and you do a social media campaign on that, then you're going to compare it on a week out and 30-day out and 90-day out, and look at something you did last year on a similar note and compare that kind of traction you were getting or not getting with likes and shares and that sort of thing. I hope that word picture kind of helps you understand it a little better, what he's talking about. The fourth point, use simple visuals to communicate data. Create data based on visuals that answer such questions as, how big is this conversation? Is it evolving? Is the conversation important to us? So how big is something happening in Sacramento that affects ticket sales for Kings home games? I'm now still in the NBA, right? Is it something minor and it's only affecting a couple games, or is it major, like the pandemic we're all dealing with right now? Is it evolving? Is it something that was a one-off, it only happened once, we're going to be okay? Or is it something that's gaining momentum, that's going to impact your business either positively or negatively? So is it a moving target? That's what he's saying about evolution. Is it evolving? And then is this conversation important to us, your company? Is it something you can look at from afar and it won't bother us and won't affect us and what we're trying to do, or will it very much affect us? So those are the questions he wants you to be paying attention to. The fifth one, make decisions based on the data. Train your social analytics team to encourage decision based on the quantitative data, the numbers, the taps, the clicks, the likes, the shares. That's what we mean by data, right? Do you want to measure if your campaign was a success? And he says, compare your brand to specific 90-day benchmarks. So paying attention to a calendar window of 90 days, in this case, when you started something, and see how it's going along the way. If your brand's involvement in a negative conversation is increasing, then start considering your action plan, what you're going to do, right? Is it a negative connotation? Very important to pay attention to that. I'm thinking of like the Takata airbag in cars, airbags that are there to save your life if you have a crash. 6 or 7 years ago, Takata was making airbags that were killing people. They were disintegrating and people were getting shrapnel in their faces, right? That's an important thing to pay attention to if you're making Toyotas or Chevys and Chevrolets or whatever car, Hondas, and you're using Takata airbags. You better be shaping that reaction, your company's reaction and action plan based on the problem with, in this case, my word picture of the Takata airbag. So that's the social game. Marketing insights, Justin DeGraff, and the idea of the power of analytics and how important they can be when you can track how someone looks at your output, your social media output. So I hope you're doing well. Have a great week, and we'll talk again next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.